What's going on, everybody? BobbyFi, Eric Sheethaber. We're going to be talking through this showdown slate between Cincinnati and Dallas. I was telling Sheets just beforehand, I had a good day yesterday, but I feel a little pissed off at myself because my bold call of the day was the Rams and the Rams and Bills, and obviously that game went completely nuts. It was the game of the year, the highest scoring game of the year, and Josh Allen was unowned. I had a good amount, but not quite enough to make it a great day, but still a very good day. Sheets, talk a little about your day, and then we'll jump into the slate.
Okay, on FanDuel, as I was mentioning earlier, I played 5 lineups in that blitz. I cashed in all of them.
Yeah.
That was good. I didn't play I only had one of those lines for Josh Allen. I had the Darnold, Jefferson, Addison stack, which scored a ton. So that worked out decently. DraftKings, I didn't have too much going on over there. So that not the greatest football weekend. I was I was 1 point away from winning the showdown last night at the end. I needed, instead of Quentin Johnson catching the last ball that he got, put somebody like 1 point ahead of me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so whatever. So I tied for second for like 7 for like $2, something like that.
No. Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing about a showdown. I go nuts on that thing. I also had a buddy. I have a friend who loves to bet, and he, some of these guys made money on crypto and stuff, and they bet a lot more than I do. But he had 14,000 on the Rams to win this outright, which was nice. But he also had I think it was a 2,500 parlay for the Rams and Chargers, which is a pretty brutal beat to lose that one because it was 10-1.
But it's like the KC just wins by 2 every game.
It's so crazy. It's honestly like I don't remember ever seeing a season quite like this. What do you think about this game overall tonight? Any overall takes? Yeah,
you have two teams. You have Cincinnati who just can't stop anybody, and they just score on everybody. Isn't this game going to go ballistic?
You think so, but it's not like Dallas has shown us that given us any reason to believe that their offense is going to do anything. But again, everybody plays Cincinnati seems to do something. So we'll see. I do think the Cincinnati part of it is going to be, a lot more popular than the Dallas side of it. So I think that's an easy way to just flip and try and do like 4-2s, 5-1s with Dallas more. But that's just from an overall strategy standpoint. In the game itself, I like the Bengals to cover. They're 5-point favorites. I think they're going to win the game outright by a decent amount. This might be the Bengals break out. We beat you by 25, but I think from a strategy standpoint, it's interesting because I'm finding myself with more Dallas than I am with Cincinnati just because of the ownership.
Hey, so you know what I bet? By the way, I forgot to mention this. I got. Listen, it could be a sweat. It's a sweat for a sweat. I did this last week, and. I want to display it for everybody. I played a team to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you my odds, and then you can tell me who it is. So let me see. Sportsbook, my bets. Just want to get the exact odds. Open. I bet a team $180 to win $27,180.
And that was a recent bet, or was it a bet you made
last week? Last week.
Okay.
150 to 1.
Is it my Rams?
It is not the Rams, but this team might not. They're very unlikely to make the playoffs. But if they do, I have the Niners.
That's interesting.
I have the Niners. They're going to be favored in most games. They need a pretty good run out, but they look pretty freaking good yesterday.
They did look good yesterday, and for what it's worth, I really hope that doesn't happen because I have my Rams, and I also have money on the Rams at 150 to 1 when they were 2-4.
That looks good too.
I have 100 on that one, but my buddy has 5,000 on that one.
What?
Yeah, he went nuts on it. He had a big win earlier. He's not really that close of a friend, but he's a guy we just talk sports about.
Right.
But he hammered the Rams. He said that's a team that if they get in the playoffs that they could beat anybody.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been healthy. People forget they're like 5-1 when they're actually healthy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I ran a few builds today, and I'll actually share my screen real quickly and just sort of show what my early exposures were. I didn't mess with it too much, but I do want to focus more on the Dallas thing as the day goes on. I think CeeDee Lamb is like a really if this ownership is anywhere near correct, which my guess is it's not. My guess is he ends up a little closer to 10%. I think that he's the best, guy to get over the field on. And then I got some of the funky, like Tanner Hudson.
You just mean the captain in the captain spot.
Captain spot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying for captain, and that's sort of what I was thinking about. But honestly, like I'm sort of going back and forth with what I want tonight, because I really believe that Cincinnati's just a much better team than Dallas is. Mm-hmm. I know their defense has been terrible, but I'm having a hard time believing that Dallas is supposed to win this game. At the same time, I feel like I need to get over on the Dallas guys just to try and get different on the ownership. Is there anybody you like especially that?
Well, hold on. Who do you think are? I don't do as much work on captain ownership as maybe I should.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? I mean, or what do you think is going to be the highest owned captains?
It'll be by far the one guy I faded entirely, and that would be Chase Brown.
Okay.
I faded him entirely in the captain, I should say.
The only thing I have for captain ownership, I have Chase Brown as the top owner, like 17.5%.
Yeah.
And then I have both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at both 15. And then Rico Dowdle and CeeDee Lamb and Burrow all at 10.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's pretty close? Is there anybody that's going to be near there, or probably not?
I think that all sounds right. I wouldn't imagine anybody else. If there's the other guys I like, I'm probably going to end up trying to get well over on the Jake Ferguson. That's one I could totally see happening with
him and Cooper Rush are the two at 5%.
Right. I think that especially Ferguson is interesting to me in that mold, and I think Tolbert you can make a good case for as well. People are doing the Zeke thing because he's so cheap, and you can kind of, I mean, look, but I just want to point out he's had 0.4, 0.6 fantasy points his last 2 games. It's like, even if he's cheap, I don't think I want to play that captain that some people are doing. I thought about Brandon Aubrey. It just feels a little bit too, like there's going to be a little too much offense maybe for me to get away with that one.
Yeah, I show him only with like 1% captain projection, and the only other guy I have with anything, I have 1.5 for like Brandon Cooks, like 2.5 for Jalen Tolbert, I guess. That's pretty much it as far as captain goes. What about the I don't even have the defenses listed yet. Yeah, I got.
What about the Bengals defense?
Yeah, how about the Bengals defense?
That's an interesting one. I could see that something happening there.
You can't put the Cowboys defense in there?
Yeah, the Bengals don't turn the ball over, and there's nothing that makes me want to. They're probably.
Okay. I mean, I just figured it'll be a lot of passing in Dallas. They still have Micah Parsons. So, I mean,
that's actually true. They've got a couple, and they have some good takeaway guys.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, but they have the highest defensive DST result of the whole season, Dallas.
Oh, which game was it?
Against Washington.
Oh my God, you're right. I think they do.
They put up 35.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, that's probably his size.
Or something like that, right? I mean,
yeah, I think they had 3 touchdowns.
Remember that? They had the onside kick return for a touchdown, and then so
and now one of the great kickoff returns ever.
Giving up 35 at real life points and getting like 34 like the DST. It's like So as far as captains go, I mean, listen, I'm usually we have to fight. It's an interesting slate because usually we have to kind of like force non-quarterbacks into the captain, right? Because quarterbacks are usually the most popular. But today, I mean, the quarterbacks aren't even the most popular.
Yeah, that's true.
Why don't you like Chase Brown? Not why don't you like him, but why are you down on him in the captain?
I just don't want to play. I mean, like Saberson has him as 26%. I don't think it's really going to be quite that high, but I think it's going to be over 20, or probably around 20. And I love him. I think he's a great play. I don't know how I'm supposed to win playing less lineups than the max.
So Saberson has him at 26, huh? The captain?
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta work on that a little more.
And he'll probably basically be locked into my flex. You know, like it's just I'll play the receivers instead. But especially like CeeDee Lamb is probably he's the one I'm currently got the most of, but I'm going to probably end up with that no matter what. It's probably going to be Lamb and Ferguson as my highest owned captains. Maybe Tolbert I'll throw in there too, because at least there's I guess Tolbert and Cook sort of belong in the same part of the conversation. Yeah, probably similar.
Hey, I'm getting a cheapo here with double-digit ownership.
Okay.
And I want to talk about this a little bit. I mean, it's not a big projection, but only just because he's 400. So I'm getting like for whatever reason Hunter Lepke with like a 12% ownership projection. So I figured I'd bring him up. I don't know what he's gonna. Again, I didn't really build much yet. I guess I will a little bit later. But I guess because I'm imagining that he like makes particular lineups work really well, which is why. Because it's not like he has a big projections too, you know.
Right.
So I figured I would ask you about that if you have any like football take on him at all.
Yeah. So I mean, look. So he basically they've used him in short yardage situations a little bit. He's basically gotten he had 3 carries last week. Sure. I think it's fine. I don't love or hate it. I feel very similarly to how I feel about the Zeke play that I do with that one.
Okay.
I guess maybe Zeke a little bit. I like Zeke a little bit better, but he's going to be literally, 4 times as owned or whatever. You can see I'm underweight both of those, or trying to be underweight both those plays. I didn't actually, it's not my final build or anything, but that's where I'm at right now. I think I would rather play Tolbert a little bit more. I don't find the needing the money as much, maybe as some other people do. And if I was going to, maybe Burton's a better play. He's their 4th receiver, but he's gotten some snaps a little bit. He's got some talent, but I think if I was going to spend way down, I just would I guess Lipke makes enough sense. It's just, I don't know. I feel like he and Zeke are both a little bit probably plays that I would rather be on the side of fading.
Can I ask you a question? What are the Bengals' record?
I think they're 4-8 now. What are they? 4-7?
4-8.
4-8 or 5?
That's what I want to ask. Yeah, because that's as I mentioned a couple of times. I have a best ball team that's going to advance to the playoffs,
right?
And I really, really need the Bengals to keep trying for a couple of weeks.
Right.
So at 4-8, I guess they're still mathematically, trying.
Mm-hmm.
So I presume if they win this week, then they have to try next week. So that's good news. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way my best ball team is set up, like next week is going to be really, really challenging to get through it. So what it is, they go to the playoffs right now. They started with like 10 million people, whatever. And now they're going to be down to, I don't know, maybe I want to say, I'm not sure, like 1,000, 10,000, 1,000 maybe. I'm not even sure, 10,000. Whatever we're down to, I'm going to have like 14 people to beat. And I got to beat all 14 next week.
Mm-hmm.
And next week it's tough because the defense I'm against. Well, it's actually not bad. Like Cleveland against Kansas City, right? So that Kansas City doesn't freaking allow anything,
right?
But again, maybe you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Maybe Casey will get a lead or something, and I can get the Jameis Winston experience again. So maybe some of that, and then I have Cincinnati. Not the best matchup. They're against Tennessee. But again, if I get through next week, I get to play Cincinnati against Cleveland in week 16.
Yeah,
which is going to be for a lot of money. So we'll see what happens. So I need Cincinnati to keep pushing and to keep trying. And tonight, I'm already advancing, so just don't get injured tonight. That'd be nice.
The path for the Bengals is rough to get to the playoffs, but you need them to win tonight, I think, obviously. But
the only reason I brought it up, by the way, is because you mentioned Burton. At some point, if in fact the Bengals start to, realize they're spinning their wheels.
Right.
I would expect like some funny stuff to happen. Like I already saw signs. I mean, I saw a couple of Khalil Herbert carries last week.
Yeah.
So one of these days, maybe you get more of that instead of Mixon. I mean, not Mixon. Chase Brown, but not yet, right?
Right.
And then same with like you mentioned. Who was that wide receiver you just mentioned? That cheapo for the Bengals? Oh, Burton. Burton, same thing. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it's possible. And people were asking about this in the chat before. By the way, you're getting a shout out because this John says he finished 4th in the 555 of the MMA, and he chopped the $5 armbar, and he won a
sweet
championship. So that's pretty
awesome.
Big.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah. So your work paid off at least.
That's
for some
great.
way.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I made by the way, I made my biggest ever straight bet in MMA. I did it live too in my first Monday video, and it won like easily. I put
nice.
I put up plus 145 underdog in Luque, and he won in like literally 40 seconds. It's literally crazy.
Awesome.
He won in 40 freaking seconds. And I bet like 10. I bet 1,800 on it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, strong. That's a strong
1800 plus 130 or whatever it was, plus 140, 142nd. That was
Oh
crazy.
my God, that's crazy. That,
Yeah.
that at least it makes some sense.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, obviously it made some sense. That's crazy. Yeah, so was the rest of MMA just sort of blah?
yeah. Yeah, I made a little bit of money actually, but that was the big thing, was just the straight bet. The DFS didn't really amount to much.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so for what it's worth, just to mention the Bengals tight ends, because I just wanted to throw this out there because like it does feel like it's probably reasonable to play any of them. And the one I like, the one with the most upside is Gesicki, but I kind of have an interest in Tanner Hudson tonight. For whatever reason, I was getting to a little bit of that when I kept rerunning these things earlier, more than the field at least of the Hudson. I think it's a reasonable idea. Like we say with Gesicki, he's in there and passing downs mostly. If they're going to be running the ball, even if they generally will have Hudson or Sample in there. And it doesn't mean that they're only going to be running the ball, but just majority of the plays I don't think are going to go to Gesicki if they're playing from ahead. So that was just another theory. I think I like Hudson a little bit better than the other guys tonight at lower ownership. But Gesicki, what is he going to be? Well, he's only going to be 7.5% owned. Ugh, maybe just be overweight all of them.
So I'm reading this, dude. That's a really, really strong, John. That's a great freaking performance. Nice job. 4.555. That's a tough tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That was excellent work. And you got you want to seed in the live final stuff. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, you don't go straight to the live final with that one. You get to like the qualifiers. I think like 200 goes to 100 or something, and then 100 goes to whatever. But that's great. Make me feel happy.
Why do they all do that in MMA? By the way, I don't understand the reasoning.
Well, they have to get through a certain amount of people first, I think. I'm not sure.
I just didn't know if it was.
But yeah, so let me see what John is saying here. What is he saying? Hudson, Tolbert, Turpin. Yeah, those guys always seem. Well, I don't know about Hudson, but Tolbert and Turpin always seem to get their stuff. And Dallas D against the Bank. I didn't realize Cincinnati's offensive line was injured as well. That certainly doesn't help them.
Yeah. I like Turpin the best of that group. Turpin and Hudson would be my two favorites from that group. I think Turpin is gonna probably maybe a little bit. Let's see what his ownership is looking like. Yeah, very low owned. So I like getting overweight on that for sure.
So here's something I've been kind of playing around with. Hold on. I'm gonna I want to share my screen.
Yeah, let me stop mine.
You can unshare yours and just this is stuff I've been working on with Saber. I mean, not with SaberSim, like just trying to screw around with different ways to use SaberSim here. Hold on. If it lets me actually build my lineups.
The good thing is now that I actually understand what you're doing, as opposed to when we used to do these, I had no idea what you were talking about.
Oh, there you go. No, but this is even going to be this. This one you might not know what I'm talking about.
Okay, it's possible.
This is going to be different. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let's. Well, it doesn't seem to be letting me build anything. Oh no, there it is. Let's build some more. Let's rerun these. Okay. I just want to get a lineup set because I want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
Are you considering leaving money on the table tonight, or it's not?
Yeah, I upped it for this game down to 5. I made it 42 as a spread. I'm not trying to do it, but if it happens to happen, that's the one way.
What do you mean 42?
From 45 to 42, because the default is 45.
Okay. But you're not. What I meant is you're not intentionally leaving money on the table.
I'm not intentionally doing it at the moment. I actually think there's enough good plays in this game where it's kind of hard to.
Okay, so first I'm going to run the Sims. I'm not making any changes, but I wanted to show you the big spreadsheet that you can screw around with once this is run. Hold on. You see here in the gray 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I'm playing 5 contests now, you can tell that it's simming against 5 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is don't even need to save the CSV. Let's just go to the whole pool. Pool all 2000. Let's download this whole thing. Okay, so let's so what this is like the top 2,000 lineups that comes from what we built. You see, it goes all the way down to 2000 there. Okay, and all these different little things on across the columns. It can, if you want to mess around with this, it can sort of help you. So let's filter this. So if you wanted to just play, say, you want to do the lottery, and you didn't want to just do the top, sim lineups or whatever, there are other ways you could do this. So you take a look. This is the let's not find the power sweep. It doesn't really get them in the right way. There's the spy. There is the 4-point stance. There is the entry. Let's see. Where's the lot? Okay. Here's the wildcat. We'll get there. Wildcat. Okay. Here's the Showdown 300K. All right. So what this does, I already said it's a filter. So if you wanted to rate everything, all these lineups by ROI for that tournament, you could take the top, say 150 rated by ROI. But another thing that you can do is you can see how many dupes these lineups rate to create. So this list, like the amount of times each of these lineups showed up in the Sims. So if you wanted to, if you were so inclined, you could delete, you could sort these by the most amount of dupes, and you could delete some of them. Or, if you don't want to put something that rates to chop with 100 people, then you can go ahead and do that. So that's one way to kind of screw around with this. And it has this for every tournament. Like if you were in the Wildcat, you could sort this whole thing by amount of sim dupes in the Wildcat. And then the other thing is that if you wanted to, you guys have seen me do geo mean filtering sometimes, where you try to like get a lower, amount of ownership. Here, they actually list it for you for all these 2000 lineups, and you can sort these by geo mean. And so if you want to take out the top owned lineups, you can kind of do it that way.
That's cool.
So it's kind of a neat, thing that you can do. And it's not that hard. Again, the real key is just knowing a very simple spreadsheet thing is you download it, then once it's here, you highlight everything and you hit filter. That allows you to kind of sort everything by these columns. And then if you don't want to just get bogged down, here's projection score. So if you want to just get rid of all this, so let's say you get down to this, you could sort by salary. You can say, okay, I want no lineups that have full 5,000 on the table. So here's one thing you can do right off the bat before you do anything else. Let's go and say anything that's, and again, we've already built the 5,000, so it's not like we're doing it pre-build. So let's take, hold on. We'll take the ones that are 5,000. We completely will delete those. Let's see what else we can do. Let's get and these are the different Saber Sim rankings. So let's get rid of that. Let's just focus on the lottery here. So let's get back to that. Hold on. Monday Night Showdown, Showdown win rate, Showdown dupes. Hold on. I just want to make it easier to look at here. Wildcat. So let's get rid of these. Just want to get rid of some of these columns. So now we have Geo Test was my thing. So let's get rid of that. Okay, so now we have ROI for the lottery, Sim dupes for the lottery. This is win rate. So again, if you think there's a difference between win rate, maybe you want to keep that. Let's get rid of cash rate. I just want to make this as small as possible. ROI standard deviation, we'll get rid of this. So we have all these kind of guys to work with. So you could just kind of screw around and play. So next thing I want to do is I don't want anything that has, a certain amount of dupes. So let's take out, I don't know, anything over 20 maybe.
Oh, okay, even 20. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's now again, not sim ROI, but sorting by ROI will help anyway with this, because that's to factor in dupes or whatever. But if you want to just start by doing this, this is something you can do. So, and then we don't even know who these people are. We don't even know who's in these lineups mean, but whatever. And then if you want, at this point, you could then you can resort by ROI, and then you can just kind of play with this. And what's cool about this is you can kind of see that you sort this by ROI, you already see kind of low geo mean things here. You see salaries that, oh, these are pretty good. You got a 48-1, you have 47-3 or whatever it is. So you could, and if you wanted to, so here's another thing you do. This says sim optimals. So what this is how many times this lineup shows up in the optimal.
Thousands,
so you could sort by that. Like you could say, okay, let's only take some lineups that actually show up at least once, right, in there. So we can hold on. So let's go everything that's below 0 in this column. And you think, oh my God, you start with 2,000 lineups. How do you get rid of some of them? I mean, you could do it pretty easily. And then boom, and then again, then you can now resort again by ROI because we got rid of some of the ones that whatever.
Right.
And then you can play these. So this is a way that you can. And I've done nothing. You know what I mean? Like I ran the stuff with SaberSim, but then I just kind of messed around a little bit by ranking them a certain way. Now, usually when you're within SaberSim, it can kind of do it for you here. So if we go back to what my lineups were, like right now, it depends on how you sort these. Like right now, they're all being ranked by ROI. But if you wanted to, be a little more, specific about what type of high ROI lineups you want, you could play with these columns and kind of screw around with them. So
yeah,
and I've listened, especially I've tried everything. I keep trying stuff. Like one of the things I'll do is in MMA I have my own custom metric which I call sheets default. So I created a new metric where I say, okay, what if the average of sheets default with the SaberSim default or whatever? Just try to get a little different, and still be sound. So and then right from here you could just go ahead and this you want to have some fun? Let's do this. So let's do this. I know with SaberSim you can do that too. Absolutely, you definitely do. You could do it within SaberSim as well. So we could do this. And let's put these into DraftKings. Okay. Yeah, but the only thing about there was no deuce greater than 5 or whatever is you have to what was I going to say? You have to specify which contest from the SaberSim app, which is not that easy. All right, so let's save these. I kind of do want to see who I have.
Yeah, it's interesting.
After doing this, I'm going to be interested to see what happens. So let's put this in here. And now what we want to do, well, we could see who we have from SaberSim also. I mean, so from DraftKings, like you could go, like right now, you can go view exposures and you could do it this way, obviously. But actually, that doesn't even say who the top captain is.
Doesn't say the captain, yeah.
Okay, so, but what you can do is again, you come back into here.
It'll tell you, yeah.
And then you could you got to re-upload it, right? So you got to re-upload the template, upload it. People say, "Oh my God, there's no NBA. So what are you going to do today?" Believe me, I find something to do.
I don't think you're bored. You're bored very often.
Right. No, I mean even for DFS, I mean like there are these little projects that I never, I don't have time to deal with normally. So what you can do again, I guess, is then to see who you have. How do you actually see who you have? I guess you put in the not the fantasy form. That's the wrong date. Let's get to the right date. Today is the 9th. Okay. So let's put in. Oh, did I not upload to this? Let me just see. Let me just see. Did I upload here?
I'm not sure.
One captain. Let's put in. So I'm just kind of learning here. Yeah, it didn't upload this yet. Okay, so let's do it again. Download, upload. Okay. Yeah, so why is it not showing what I have within SaberSim? Interesting. Okay, so stuff to work on, I guess. Because I'm sure I have it, right? Let me just make sure or did it even, hold on, let me see. So I have them here. It's just not showing up within SaberSim. All right, well, I will,
Interesting.
I'm going to look up and see how to show that. Anyway, okay, but in any case, that is one way to use SaberSim like by yourself, kind of like off-site to kind of screw around with your lineups and stuff.
That's cool. I like that. I think that's really interesting.
Plenty of ways to screw up.
The thing is, I realize though with my play, especially like on these slates right now, like I can't afford to be just to be honest, totally risk averse. So I actually like the thinking of getting different, but I don't mind playing these showdown slates and playing for a possible tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So I think it really does. I guess it depends on how much risk you want to embrace or whatever. But whereas like, I guess if it's that top heavy, it probably makes sense to certainly get rid of everything with more than 50 lineups in general.
Yeah,
50 dupes in general. I think that makes plenty of sense. 20 is more aggressive than I would go probably, but it's probably a good thing to do. All right, man. Well, we'll be live at 6:30 Eastern. I think Brandon might join us or whatever. It's kind of a lighter day. I'll do a little NBA thing later on. I'll just mention like I'll either pop in for a show or just throw out my thoughts in the Discord. There's only one game slate, but they have a decent sized tournament in there. I'm sure Sheets will be playing it. Did you look at the NBA at all?
I did not.
No, it's just the one game, so not a whole lot to go over.
I'm sure I will play
2 seconds later. Yeah. All right, man. You ready to get out of here?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys at 6:30.